What's going on, everybody? This is the new podcast,
Welcome to Thoughts in the Middle.
Thoughts in the Middle.
This name was thought in 5 seconds. We may switch it. We may keep it. We honestly have no idea yet.
So this podcast is going to be a little bit less finance-centric and just a little bit more of like professionals' take on what's going on in the world. A lot of this stuff has to do with business, so we'll obviously be giving like a business mind sense behind what's going on and what we think it would affect, as far as a company's growth and everything included. But this one's going to be a little bit less serious, a little bit more on the fun side. So before we get started, as usual, I want to thank our sponsor for today's video, USCCA. If you want to know more about USCCA, click that link below. Before we get started, we're going to play our sponsor's video. Give us just 1 sec.
It's in our nature to protect the ones we love, to stand up to any danger, to be strong and courageous, to always be prepared, to keep our family safe, to be the first line of defense. We are born to protect.
That's the second time we've seen that today. And,
Chills again.
Chills again, dude. It's going to be chills every time I see that video. So today's topic, and we're actually going to a different camera scene here because this one's going to be more about how we talk about what's going on in the world of the internet. A pretty big company, actually. Blizzard Entertainment, also part of Activision, I believe. So yeah, they are Activision Blizzard. Is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that is actually the creator of very popular games such as Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and it's recently.
Yeah, $60 billion company.
That's a lot of dollary dues there. They have completely cut ties with China, completely, altogether. People are calling it a bitter and ugly divorce between Blizzard and its Chinese partner NetEase. It looks like the CEO Bobby Kotick was
referred to as a jerk.
Yeah, and that's what
by the CEO of NetEase.
Yeah, so this was literally just a bunch of words exchanged between these two very powerful executives, and all of a sudden things went bad. So, Blizzard offered NetEase an extension to their existing contract, and they got turned down. Very upset, very furiously turned down. There was the thing that really nailed the coffin. Was this video here, and the employees of NetEase were outside the Blizzard headquarters, and they were actually destroying one of the statues that had been put up.
Wow.
And people were given this drink. I don't know if you see it here, because they have a coffee shop too, this big conglomerate in China, and that the thing from NetEase was Blizzard green tea. That's what it was called. Uh-huh. And apparently in China, calling somebody green tea is a slur. It's like a really bad thing to say about people. So in retaliation, Blizzard then shut services completely to millions and millions of players across the board. And, the Chinese obviously didn't take too kindly to that. So what they ended up doing was it seemed as though, because they already had worked on those games, worked on, a lot of the things that they had been doing for excess of 10 plus years. They were like, well, we're just going to make our own version of the game, and I saw the video, and it was like almost identical to the like original World of Warcraft. Just to put it in perspective, I play World of Warcraft, so and I've been playing since early 2006.
Can they make a lookalike like that and not get sued?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's the same issue with like how people buy those fake Louis Vuitton bags and Prada bags. It's like in the U.S., it's a lot easier to put somebody in jail and find the manufacturer.
And from another country.
But from another country, their laws are different. So it's like you could certainly try, but trying to find out the source of who it is, it's not that easy. It's the same thing with like those scam call centers in that are rampant in India.
Those, yeah.
It's very hard to catch them because they just change names, change buildings, change this. So it's like it's not easy, and even their own government does everything in their power to stop them. And I've seen recent YouTube videos of like people hacking their networks and getting them completely shut down and everything.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
And that's really, those are really wild to me. And I think it's cool to see because those calls, man, working at the bank, it's like I got to see really sad events of that, like literally scamming people. I'll never forget. An older lady comes in and she's like, I need to do a cash advance on a credit card. And she didn't want to talk to me. She seemed really nervous. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, just talk to me. I just need to know. And she's like, I can't tell you. And I was like, you can tell me. I won't tell anybody. Nobody's here with us. It's just you and I. Like, what's wrong? She's like, my son went to Mexico and the police took him. And I talked to him on the phone. And they're threatening to kill him if they don't send X amount of dollars. And I'm like, well, how do you know that's true? When was the last time you talked to him? She's like, well, today. I said, aside from today, when was the last time you talked to him? Well, this, that, and I talked to the police captain, and I talked to him, and I said, the police captain told you that if you don't send money, they'll kill him. It's like, okay. She's not even supposed to be driving, and she drove there. I'll never forget this. Because I said, so where is your, it's her grandson. I said, where's your daughter? Why don't you call your daughter and ask where your grandson is? I can't. They said that if I call, and I said, listen, nothing's going to happen. I promise you, let me call. So I called the daughter. Hi, is this so-and-so's daughter? Yes, what's going on? I said, this is so-and-so from the bank. Your mom is here, and do you know where your son is? And she's like, yeah, he's in Boston. He just got off the plane. He's in Boston. I literally just talked to him. I was like, she's over here thinking that he's in Mexico, and if she doesn't send money, that, and she's really about to send money and apply for a loan. I'm what's holding her from doing it. Uh-huh. And technically, I'm not supposed to, because the rules at the bank say you can't,
like interfere?
Not interfere. We are not allowed to discourage somebody from applying. We were not allowed to discourage an applicant. So even though we knew there was zero chance in any way, shape, or form that you would get approved, we can't tell you not to do it.
Oh, interesting.
No bank can. You are not allowed to discourage an applicant from applying, regardless of the situation. So if you've applied 6 times and you're like, I got to know every time, and you go, what do you think?
Yeah.
I have to say, it doesn't matter what I think. If you want to run it, we can run it again. Did I do that? No, of course not, because I pride honesty and loyalty and doing what's right over what a corporation wants. But the point is that you're not supposed to. And I stopped her from what she was doing because I knew something was off. The daughter is freaking out. My mom's not even supposed to be driving. How did she get there? I'm like, she drove here. She's like, tell her to stay there. I'm coming. She's not even supposed to be driving. And I said, can you please have your son call so she can talk to him? So the son called. He's like, Grandma, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I was on a plane. I'm in Boston. I never went to Mexico. And she's crying. And I felt so good and bad at the same time.
Yeah,
I felt great that I protected this woman from losing thousands of dollars. But I felt bad for her because she truly believed it.
Yeah.
She truly believed it. And it was just heartbreaking to see such an elderly person who's
This happened?
crying, man, it was rough. It was a rough day for me. I felt great, but I felt heartbroken at the same time.
That reminds me that something like that happened to my great grandma right as she was passing away. She started to have Alzheimer's or dementia or something, and some scam got her like that, and she wired I think literally the rest of her money that she had left, like everything.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know. My wife likes watching the dude on YouTube that like pisses these scammers off for an hour and wastes their time, and it's fun stuff, but it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, how I understand why they wanted to cut ties with the Chinese company. I feel bad for the players.
Yeah.
Because I myself am a player of the game, right? And I've had that account longer than I've had any girlfriend, longer than I've had any relationship in my life. It feels personal because that account grew up with me.
Uh-huh.
That's why I still play it to this day. If I had to start over, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would have no interest in doing
That's
it.
why I haven't played it, because I didn't. My friend played it, I remember growing up as a kid. And like he always played it, but I'm like, he was already way too deep by the time I even thought about it.
RuneScape, World of Warcraft, I love those games. I'm a huge gamer. I try to make time for it every night after my work day so I can at least enjoy what I like to enjoy. That's my happy place. And it's like, I stand by it where it's like, if I had to give up my account, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Oh, I bet.
Because the countless thousands of hours, the special unlocks, because it's like, there's this thing in these games where you kill monsters and you can get mounts where you can ride these monsters, so like dragons or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I know this is like, I get it. I get it. The conversation doesn't get easier the older I get. But it's something I like, and I don't care. You know, everybody has their vice. This is mine.
Oh, for sure.
But you have to spend hours, because you can only do this thing once a week. One time a week, and you either get the drop or you don't. And it's like a 0.02% chance. So I recently finally got something that I had been hunting for 10 years.
Wow.
10 years of trying, countless tries, thousands of tries just trying to get it. I finally get it. If I were to lose my account tomorrow, that would piss me off because there's been actual time invested, right? Like time invested, tries,
time.
Emotions. Like, so it's like, I feel bad for these players in China who are on the receiving end of whatever's going on between the governments and these two organizations. I know that there was a lot of stuff between China getting too involved in American corporations and having too much control. I understand where that's a problem too, because a foreign organization shouldn't have that much control over a U.S. entity, and I firmly believe that. But it sucks because the only people who hurt
Are the players.
are the people.
Well, yeah, I was looking. Activision's stock has gone up almost 4% in the last 5 days.
Has it really?
Today they didn't drop. The day before they didn't drop. So
It's probably because there's more investors proud to stand by them because they know they're not bending the knee to a foreign entity where it's like American companies are like, cool, we'll stand behind that. But it's like, it sucks. I feel it from a player standpoint where it's like, man,
I know what you're talking about.
I was watching a video, and in the game you can get fireworks, and it's just groups of people just shooting off fireworks in their last hurrah. And it was like, it was cool in a way, because it's like, man, what a way to go out. And I'm going to see if I can find it, but it's like, what a way to go out. And it was cool to see, but it's like, it was an interesting development. It was definitely something where it's like, wow, this is crazy that this is happening, because I'm wondering how much was the player. Can you pull up and see how much the player base in China was? Because each month is $15, by the way. So to play this game, you have to pay $15 a month. And that's not including, not including paying for the expansions and stuff.
It says 3 million players.
In China?
Yeah,
So you do that times 15.
Yeah, 3 million players China just for World of Warcraft, and then you still have Overwatch.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Hearthstone,
that's just World of Warcraft. There's tons of
StarCraft.
other games. And
Yeah.
it's like, I guess the question is
three-
how many
3.2
Chinese
million.
play? How many
3.2 million
total?
in China. Yeah.
That's all their games?
No, that's just for World of
What about
Warcraft.
total? Because that's where that number really makes a difference. Because if you factor $15, what's the total player count in China for all their games?
Well, this is saying it's 70% of their player base.
Oh, with their card games and everything, 70%. There's no way. That what?
Every single thing I'm seeing is
How many?
is
Total?
70%.
Do they have a figure with it? How many total players? I mean, what's 70%?
I don't know.
Retail player base is 70%. Oh no, that's for you're reading for World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
I'm seeing that too.
I just typed in for Blizzard, maybe Activision Blizzard.
Maybe they didn't shut everything down. Maybe they only shut World of Warcraft down.
3 million, 3.2 million. That's still an insane number. Yeah, 3.2 million times $15.
Tell you what that is right now. $48 million a month.
Month times 12. $576 million.
That's a bold.
And I'm
number.
sure there's in-game purchase in it.
Oh, yeah,
too,
that's
right?
just-
so
that's
just for
the-
the base subscription.
That's just the base subscription, not including that when new stuff comes out.
We should
you
make a
have to
video
pay.
game.
Call it Thoughts of Warcraft.
We're in the wrong business.
Oh man, are we in the wrong? Yeah, it's so funny. I look at so many other businesses where they're just turning cash over like hand over fist. Riot Games is like that too.
Oh, theirs isn't. It's just insane.
I had a buddy at a high school who went to work there, and I think he's still there, and he's cool. His name's Jared, and he still works there. He's in their IT security department. But like, I remember the days when they were a small company, and people used to be like, "Hey, you want to come to the tournament?" And like, we went one time, and it was so terrible because like the people there didn't shower and sitting in the stands. I was like, "Oh God, no, I could not do it." Like, it was literally like everybody was coming out of caves to go hang out. And then like now I look at it and it's like
The biggest thing.
it is in arena. I'll never forget, man. I turned on the news, not the news, I'm sorry, the Sports Center, Fox Sports Center, and they're playing Street Fighter. Like gaming in itself has evolved in such a way where it's like it is a career.
Oh yeah.
Colleges are now accepting
Yeah.
scholarships.
There's now NIL deals for players, like how there is for college athletes now for like football, basketball, and
There
whatnot.
is.
Yeah, kids are getting paid to go to college. Like they're getting contracts in college for money to go and play these esports.
That's wild. And it's funny because it's like growing up, our parents were always like, "Get off that thing.
Yeah, you can't make-
you're
you
never
can't
gonna
make
make
money."
anything of your life if you play." And you're like, "No, Dad, this is my life." There's
I was
like,
I saw this guy. He plays NBA the 2K games, and he makes $15 million a year
playing the game,
playing the game.
man.
That's more than like any WNBA player even is close to making.
That's crazy.
And that's more than even what quite a few, probably a decent chunk of the NBA's yearly salaries. It's probably more than most of them.
That's wild.
He's making $15 million a year playing a video game, shooting fake basketballs.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you condition for that? Are you cold plunging with an Xbox remote?
Put in a snorkel and stand.
You're just, cold plunging with a snorkel on to make sure that.
Hops in the sauna after.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You got to keep an athlete's mind is an athlete. But that leads to question, right? People say, like, are they real athletes? What is your take? I'm going to give you my opinion. I want to know, do you find...
I don't think so.
I do.
Think, I mean, I guess in the same sense, like if you're playing, well, I mean, I guess it just depends on like what's the I guess the technical term of an athlete. Because I mean, I know you have to practice just like you would in
Right.
any other sport,
Right.
and do all that. It's just it lacks the physical exertion part. So as an athlete, like you have to be considered. Is it considered physical exertion?
And
So that's where I think it differs. But I mean, the practice and you have to compete and the strategy and the competitiveness, that's all the same. And I think that's why athletes all love. I think that's why so many athletes play video games, because you still get that competitive feeling that you would get from playing a sport.
so the technical definition of an athlete says a person who is proficient in sports and other forms of physical exercise.
Mhm.
But
I mean, I guess
is it
probably
exercise?
is.
No. I mean, is sitting at the computer playing a game exercise? Absolutely not. I don't think so. But where I say that they're professionals, and I think the word, if we look at it as a technicality, right?
Mhm.
Maybe they're not athletes by the traditional sense.
Mhm.
But when we think about athletes, dedicated athletes,
Yeah.
who love what they do, they're up every morning doing what
Yeah,
they
they
do.
eat, sleep, and
They
breathe it.
practice, they do it, they do whatever it takes to get an edge, and they, you know, and even doping, dude, there's doping in both of those things.
Yeah.
You know, the Adderall addiction in
Yeah.
the gaming community is insane. There
Yeah.
are tons of these kids who are addicted to Adderall because they can focus and do these split second decisions. It's just the same thing with like steroids in the
Yeah.
in
It's
the
very
in
true.
the, in the sports
Crazy.
community. So it's like
You're getting drug tested to go play
they're both
Valorant.
being drug tested. They're both doing drug tests. They're both practicing 10 hours a day. They're both doing it at massive stadiums
Yeah.
for tens
Tens-
of thousands of people.
Yeah, in some cases it may even be more people.
It is more people. When
Yeah.
you talk about live streaming and everything, esports gets way more views than any sport ever could, unless it's like the World Cup or something.
Yeah.
But then it leads to the question, right? Like, are they athletes? I think they are. I think anybody who dedicates their life to doing something and doing it to the best of their ability and in a way, shape, or form are a professional athlete in that thing.
Mhm.
Now, are they an athlete in the technical sense? Well, then I guess not.
Mhm.
But if we're going to pull hairs just to technicality, it's like, well, then what do you call them? Professional video game player. Well, we don't acknowledge that. Well, it's like, how are you going to say they're not athletes? They're on a sports news show.
That is
They're
true.
on the
That is
sports
true.
station.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
on ESPN.
I was getting text left and right where it's like, what the hell is all this? I think it was a Street Fighter tournament on Fox Sports. And I was like, they were like texting me, like, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's Street Fighter. Street Fighter 5. It's like, that guy's from Korea. This guy's from Japan. You know, I get it. But I don't watch it, but I get it. I
Yeah.
understood what I was looking at. And it's just like, it's crazy. I think the world in itself has just become a much different place. It
Oh
makes you
yeah,
go
it's
like-
totally changing.
It's like you turn on the TV, there's kids playing on the computer, and you're like, "What is this?" And
Yeah,
then,
you turn on the TV to watch another kid play on his
yeah,
his
and
monitor
it's like
screen.
kids love watching that now. Kids love watching stream.
Oh yeah.
We're working on getting a very popular streamer on the podcast who makes a living off this stuff, and I'm still in the talks with him because trying to see if we can get him to come out, and if he does, if he'd want to stay out here for a couple days, because he's in Nevada. But we're gonna get somebody, one way or the other. I'm going to get a professional streamer on here to tell us like, what does it take? Because I don't think it's just like what we're doing right now. It's more than just sitting in an office and setting up and turning on a camera, because this is a lot of work. What we're doing right now, we know, me and you know, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot for us to sync up our schedules, and it takes hours upon hours of us planning, doing this, and that. So it's like, if I did this all day, every day, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, this is
yeah.
our second one of the day.
Yeah, if you do anything all day, it can be.
And the technicalities, like, oh, I need this cable, that cable. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, there's so many cables going on over here, and then, there's so, and then half the time we start the stream, it doesn't work. There's sound not working or something. So then we spend another 30, 40 minutes, and then it's like, oh shoot, now.
I mean, we're getting better at it, right? Because we're
Yeah.
practicing. But it's like, it's what I'm saying. It's like this thing. It, it's in a realm of its own.
Mhm.
I could understand where somebody could make money doing this, even if it's going around setting this up for people.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause it's a lot.
Joe Rogan makes he signed
Joe
well
Rogan,
over $150
man.
million
And Joe Rogan,
contract.
I love Joe Rogan's podcast. It's cool. He just talks to people.
Yeah,
There's no purpose in his podcast.
no, it's just to find out more about that person and what they enjoy.
Let them talk. And you know when we do, and that's what I try to do when we do ours, and that's what this one's going to be. It's just going to be talking about modern events and what's going on, and you know what's our take on it. Do I think it's a business plan, a good business plan? I don't think so, right? You look at it as a collective. It's a lot of money they're missing out on. But if they're being pressured by American companies that they're, you know, or American government agencies that they're being, you know, paid for, there's some sort of corruption, that's like, well, I understand it. I just feel bad for the players because I'm one of those players, and it's like, it would suck to lose something that I've spent 10 years on
That'd be terrible.
when I didn't do anything. Like, my two countries are fighting each other. It's the same thing like this Russia-Ukraine thing. I feel bad for some of the Russian citizens in there. It's not their fault that these two countries are at war and they can't access anything. You know, their credit cards and visas don't work. Their MasterCard doesn't work. Everything got pulled from them. Netflix, this and that. It's like, nobody wants that war there. Nobody's happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but
Yeah, the good Russians can't even sit back and watch Netflix now.
yeah. You know, and it's like,
The ones that want nothing to do with it.
right. And there are plenty of people there that don't want anything to do with it. And it's like, they're just a cog in the wheel, right? It's the same thing like those players. It's unfortunate. It's like, I know that too. I always say that. We're just, unless you get your own machine, you're just another cog in the wheel. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're the expendables. You know, it doesn't matter. They don't care how many hours and years I put into something. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're making a decision and that's that. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is the first. I know Payson's got to go. It's the first podcast, Thoughts in the Middle. We're probably gonna change.
We'll probably change the name.
Probably gonna change the name. This will be in its own.
Last second.
This will be in its own little category where we just talk about public events, things
Thoughts
that
in
are
the
going
middle.
out. It's our thoughts, and we're down the middle. You know, we don't have any particular bias to it. We're just thoughts in the middle. All right. Well,
It's honestly kind of good.
we'll see. We'll see if we stick with that. There'll be an intro and everything. We're just kind of giving it a first time go. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in.
We'll
Go and watch
figure-
the other podcast that we
Yeah,
did
go watch
record
the-
today
go-
if you want an actual.
Episode 15, baby. We talked about misconceptions in the lending process, and we talked about a lot of people's TikToks being kind of misleading. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen that, go check that out. That one's more professional, more business oriented. This one's just us blowing off some steam and talking about stuff we want to talk about. So thank you, Payson. Thank you, everybody who's going to tune in. Thank you, USCCA, for being the sponsor of this channel's
Yes, thank you.
everything we do, essentially. All our videos are sponsored by USCCA. And if you want to know more about USCCA, click